This video is sponsored by my good friends at Sage Accounting. If you do not know who Sage is, I am about to change your side hustle life. As we know, managing your personal finances and managing your business finances are two very different things. When it comes to your business, you are thinking about your cash flow, you are thinking about your invoices, and trying to make sure that you pay people on time and that they pay you on time. And for that, you need to keep track of all of your money and know exactly where all your business's money is, where it is being spent, and how it is being spent. And for that, you need to have a reliable accounting software. And I have been using Sage for the past year since I started working with them, and it has been incredible, guys. I have never felt like I have been this much on top of my business finances than I have since I started actually tracking it and making sure that all of my accounting is sound. So I highly recommend that you guys check them out, and they've been so kind as to give us 30 days free when you sign up with the link in the description, or when you sign up for a Sage Accounting, use my affiliate referral code freedom and you will get your 30 days free. But obviously the easiest way is to just click on the link in the description. Thank you so much, guys, and let's move on to this video. Hi guys, and welcome to Small Steps to Freedom. Thank you so much for joining me again on this series that I'm having with Sage. In today's video, I am hosting quite a phenomenal human being. If you've never seen any of his YouTube videos, you're missing out on some really great drone shots. But his name is Tino. He is a support engineer. He is also a photographer. He is a content creator in the YouTube space as well. So clearly he has a lot of dimensions, a lot of things happening here. So I'm going to let him introduce. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Hello guys, my name is Tino, and as you said, I'm a cloud engineer, a cloud support engineer. I also do YouTube, part time. I am also into photography. That's pretty much it.
I feel like you're so humble. Like you say, like, oh, I do photography, I'm a YouTuber, and you make such amazing YouTube videos. Like, I really enjoy your YouTube videos. There's a reason I pointed out the drone shots because they're just so beautiful. So like one of the biggest things, let's like touch on like the first thing. You are a support engineer. You studied computer science in university, I think. Something close to that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that. How did you get into tech and into that space?
So how did I get into tech? That's from high school. Literally, I was doing research on what am I going to do after I finish high school. And on every top 10 list I came across, 5 of those positions would be something to do with tech. It was usually software development at the top, and then maybe network administrator or like database administrator, whatever. And the common theme amongst those roles was computer science. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna study computer science. But my parents weren't too keen on, oh, it's not engineering, it's not being a doctor, it's not being a lawyer, it doesn't count. So that's why they came up with electrical and computer engineering, which has a lot of computer science, which is what I wanted, and engineering, which is what made my parents feel a bit more secure about my career. So that's how I got into tech. It was generally because I felt like it has great opportunities and it apparently pays a lot. So that's how I got into tech. And how I got into my role specifically, so at Amazon, I was trying to apply for software development, and at the time they didn't have any entry-level positions for foreigners, so I was applying for like a slightly more experienced role, but I couldn't make it. They liked me, but I didn't have the experience required for that role. So they then said, okay, we've got cloud support, which we do have a graduate program, which is currently accepting foreigners. So if you want, we want to keep you, but there's this one I was like, okay, fine. Did some research. Cloud support is something I never really understood the cloud that much anyways. But it's Amazon, the salary was looking nice. And the most important part for me was they were going to help me with my visa. So most other companies, they like if they were even willing to give me an offer, they weren't really willing to help me with the immigration side of things. But with Amazon, at least they literally outsourced like a company to help me with my visa and stuff. And for me, that was the biggest point because I needed a work visa. And yeah, that's how I ended up there. That's the actual. That's how I got into tech, basically.
Yeah.
Just,
I like how how logically you thought of this, because when I graduated high school, I wasn't really thinking about, oh, what's like the best thing for me to study, for me to like, what's the most valuable thing for me. It was like, I just need to go to university so that I can get my freedom.
oh, that freedom! Oh my god! Oh my god! I was so glad I was going to UCT because it's far away and it's far enough away from home.
My exact thing, like
Oh,
that
my
is
mom
like
watched
why
this.
I was so I was like, I'm going all the way to Cape Town. It's so far away from everyone. I'm going to have so much freedom. That was the
yeah.
only thing I was like thinking about. I never thought about, well, what are the opportunities in this space? How much money can you make in the long term? Which is like a pitfall, right?
But
Because
it's unfortunate they don't really like point these things out in high school because they're like, just study what you like, study what you're strong in. If you
Follow
did the
your
sciences,
passion.
exactly. Especially with like high school, like by the time you finish high school, you're already very narrow in like what you're going to focus on. For me, it was like the sciences, so it only made sense for me to go into sciences. For some people, it was commerce subjects, so it only made sense to go into commerce. And by
Yes.
that stage, like they didn't make a lot of like they weren't really conscious when they were making these decisions to go into those roles, anyways. By the time they finished, they just like, you did commerce subjects, go and study commerce. You did sciences, go and study engineering.
Yes.
And like it's unfortunate there isn't much guidance to like there isn't much logic to that. You're not considering are there positions in that field, are they hiring, where are the opportunities, what does it take to get to those opportunities and stuff.
Yes.
So it kind of sucks how high schools let people down in terms of just like that career guidance there. But yeah, as you grow older you learn and you adjust.
or you're just smart like Tino and you know these things right out of high school. You're like, you know
Eh.
what? Computer science makes money. I'm going to go right there.
Ish, man, it kind of worked. I'm glad it worked. But it has its downsides though.
Yes.
It has its downsides.
What are the downsides?
Because now I've gotten to a stage where like because my whole logic behind career decisions was I need to make money in this career, which helped me a lot because I'm coming from Zim after all. Kind of
Yes.
makes sense to want money. So like, but now I've gotten to a stage where money isn't the most important factor anymore when it comes to making career decisions, because technically whichever decision I'm going to make, I'm going to be able to make enough money to fulfill the basic needs, which is what my goal was. So now I've sort of achieved that goal, and it's been hard making career decisions because money isn't the only factor to consider anymore. Like I have to consider, okay, what actually makes me happy? I've never really thought of that when making career decisions. And yeah, like now, like I'm thinking, okay, where do I see myself in 5 years? Why do I want that specific role? Does it actually make me happy? What makes me happy in the first place? I'm starting to have these philosophical questions like, what's the meaning of life? Is this it? Like, do I just wake up and make money and then sleep? Like, what's
Yes.
going on? So it has its downsides, but I feel like they are kind of like first world downsides.
They're the best type of downsides to have.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
There's like
Yeah.
nice life problems.
It's actually a very nice, privileged position to be in, to be
Yeah.
thinking about, to actually be thinking about what actually makes me happy, and not stressing so much about, I need to make money. I need to be able to, like, I need a job,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Desperation.
Desperation, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say it has downsides, but like it's a very privileged downside, if I'm to be honest. I wouldn't be thinking about this 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was like, yo, guys, I need a job.
Like, I'll take anything.
I'll take anything, like, age man. But yeah, that's I'm still going through that phase of
Yes.
trying to update the way I think about career decisions, because it shouldn't only be about money.
Yes.
Of course, once you've achieved that, because I mean, obviously money is the baseline. You need money to do anything.
True.
But once you've covered that, what comes next? What else do you need to consider?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I'm working on that at the moment.
I really love the fact that you brought that up because it makes me think about like the correlation between like money and happiness. Because we always talk about this, like, is money really everything, or money make you happy? And I am definitely an advocate of the fact that I feel like money will make you happy.
Definitely.
Like being able to go on vacation will definitely make you happy, right? But I think there's this point where you like are able to just meet your needs. You're able to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You're able to do all these things where like making more money isn't necessarily
It's
like
not necessary.
it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily like make you any more happier.
Any much happier. Yeah,
exactly.
that's true, yeah.
Exactly. So that's probably where you're at right now. You're like, okay, guys, I'm making enough.
I'm getting there.
I'm fine.
I'm getting there. Like, if I'm to not have any kids or get married, whatever, I actually think like I'm fine. I'd like, I'd rather focus more on trying to make myself live a more fulfilling life than chase money. But obviously, as I take on more responsibilities, I am going to need to make more money. But it's not the biggest thing anymore. No, that's a lie. Still is the biggest thing, but it doesn't take as much importance as it it did before. But I do believe like money is the route to happiness. That
it is the source. That's where it starts.
Because like once you have the money that meets your basic needs, you have the freedom to actually explore other things. You don't have the freedom to explore photography if you can barely eat,
Yeah, why are you going to buy like a 10,000 rand camera?
Doesn't make sense. You can't afford to put food on your table. Why are you out here enjoying your life? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, no, that money happiness talk. Yeah, it's a lot, eh? Yeah.
It's like bringing existential crisis out. But I think that's like a great problem to have, when you're like, okay, now the work that I'm going to be doing really I won't care about how much money I'm making. I'm just focusing on, do I enjoy it, and am I happy to show up every single day?
Yeah.
I think that's a great problem
have. It's a problem we should look forward to, honestly.
Exactly. And let's talk about that money side a little bit, right? So like I think we always talk about tech and how like there's so much money to be made in tech, right? But is there really money to be made in tech? Like obviously there clearly is, since you are having too much money problems.
I did not say that. I did not say that at all. Wow. There is money.
Yes.
So I would say in general, companies that in tech are willing to pay you more than compared to other industries on average. So I think from the last few years of experience I've had, I've only been working for like 3-ish years now. I've grown to understand that it's not just because you're in tech that you're getting paid a lot. Like, you can get paid. I remember people telling me this when I was in high school and varsity. You can make money from anything. And now that I've been in the industry for a bit, what actually makes you money, it's more like your experience, and just honestly, like, companies will pay you what they think you're worth. And what they think you're worth can depend on a lot of factors. So I'd say when it comes to factors that influence how much money you make, the role that you have probably doesn't play that big of a role in how much money you make. It on average, certain roles will pay more than other roles, but the more important factors for me are experience and just how much value you bring to a company or whatever. So, for example, hundreds of students graduate with computer science degrees, which technically means they are software developers, but there's lots of people right now who can't find jobs. So that alone should tell you that just having the role itself is not good enough. Experience, I think, that pays a lot more. You will find people in the lesser paying roles who actually get paid a lot more than people in the higher paying roles, but that's because they have more experience. They have a lot more to bring to the company than other people. So yeah, that's I'd say that's when you think about where you want to make money, think more about what value you can bring to a company. If you're a developer and you want to get paid more as a developer, work on yourself, work on basically you need to be able to show a company that you are worth this much money. If if you want to work for Google, they want very skilled developers. How are you going to show Google that you're a very skilled developer? You can't apply to Google when you don't have any work experience, because they don't have a way to actually prove that you have that the skills they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that kind of gives insights to that.
I think it does, because I think like the default mindset or the default perspective is that just get into tech and you will make the money will come, just get in, right?
True.
But like there's so many factors, like you said, like it depends on your role, it also depends on your experience.
Depends which company is hiring you.
It depends which company is hiring you. It's very different when you get hired by a startup to when you get hired by a
By,
big
like, a
corporate,
big
right?
corporate, yeah.
There's like benefits that come into play and things like that. So I think that's a very important like thing to note there. And what I also want to just like touch on, you mentioned like the software developers. I know a lot of my community are like interested in like the coding part.
Yeah.
But you made a whole YouTube video talking about like some of the other different roles people don't think about when they
Yeah.
think about tech, right? Because when you think about tech, you think about code, you think about a
Coding.
software developer sitting there and creating an application or something,
Yeah.
right? But what are some of the roles that are around that people can tap into without necessarily a computer science degree?
Yeah. So I actually think for people who don't have for people who are not in tech,
Yes.
who want to get into tech, going for software development is probably one of the hardest routes to take, because it's a pretty complex skill, which takes time, and like it's just a lot more complex, to get into. So I feel like people should definitely explore other roles in tech, because also the nice thing about tech is I feel like it's a lot easier to move around within tech itself. Like I started off as a developer. Like if you look at my CV before I started as a cloud engineer, it was just like 5 internships of software development. I had lots of experience. I interviewed a lot of roles, like all my job offers before my current role were all software development. So I could get into that. But then I found this cloud support role, which had skills that I technically had, like from varsity, but like I really wasn't that good. Like we did networking, but like it's one of those courses where I passed, but I really don't know what I'm doing. But for
You
this
just
role,
made it through.
I had to understand networking. Like it's fundamental. If you're gonna work with the cloud, it literally revolves around networking.
Yes.
I spent like the first, like it's a graduate program, so its core focus is to actually train you into the role. And most of the time, we spent a lot of time just learning networking fundamentals. And then I was specifically supporting Linux, so I had to learn a lot about Linux. I'm now actually literally an expert in Linux. So there, I switched from software development into cloud engineering. And now I'm actually thinking of like, what's my next move? I can get into maybe like architecture, developing solutions for an entire company. That's a whole different set of skills, and I can transition into that. I just have to like actually learn the skills, do maybe shadow a few people, and basically build a portfolio to show whatever company I'm going to work for, whatever role I'm going to work for. Okay, I want the skills. I've got this whole background of me being able to learn quickly, because that's one of the biggest that's one of the most important things I think you need, the ability to learn and learn really fast. Because the truth is, for most companies, the actual job you're going to be doing, you're probably not trained for that. You could have trained as a software developer, but if a company uses Java for like complex machine learning and stuff, and you learned C++, you actually don't know how to do that job. So the company is going to have to train you for the first 5 or so months to get to a stage where you can actually bring value to the company. So if you got somebody who can learn really fast, you can move really quickly in tech. So back to that question there. So instead of just going straight for software development, try to just explore what's in tech, and also what's closer to what you're currently doing. If you are really good at like learning stuff really fast, start with something small. Start with like a system administrator role, and that exposes you more to tech, and then you can have an actual understanding of what's going on whilst you're inside the industry. And then once you're there, you can actually start carving out paths to get where you want to get to. If you want to move into software development, luckily I've got some skills from many years ago now. I know how to get there. I can now start building that portfolio to move into that position because I understand how that industry works. But there's a lot more. If I want to get into network administrator type of role, I can just start doing a lot more complex networking related skills.
Yes.
If I want to look into databases, I can do that because I've been in the industry and I understand how these components work together. So I think one of the reasons why it's easy to move around is because at the end of the day, these things work together. If you're a developer, you're developing an application which you use as a database. It's going to run on the internet, which means it's using a network. You're going to run in a distributed environment, which means you're going to need somebody who's in a DevOps position. So all these roles at the end of the day, they work together, which is probably why it's easy to like move around in tech.
Yes.
So yeah, I would recommend, just don't just look at software. You can, if you've got the skills to learn really fast and you can actually code and build a nice CV, if you can prove that you're a good developer, then yeah, definitely go for it. But the problem is it's really hard. That's why there's an entire degree that prepares people to be a developer.
It is very hard. And I
Yeah.
think it's so misleading, especially nowadays when you see all of these like courses or like boot camps. They're like, oh, you can learn how to code in 3
Like
months.
6 yeah,
And
6
I'm like,
weeks, whatever,
no,
like,
you can't.
yeah, technically you can.
For most
but,
people.
There's a lot more involved to
There's
it.
a lot
Yeah.
more involved because I think if you want to enter that space, especially with the bootcamp like route, right? You have to have some kind of background, some sort of engineering background or
Yeah.
math background, so
Yeah.
that you have the foundation to understand the complexities.
Because at the end of the day, if you want to be a good developer, you have to be somebody who can build stuff,
Yes.
and that takes a lot more than just coding. Like if you are to actually build a software, you probably spend maybe 10-20% of your time actually writing code. Most of the time, you're actually testing your code. You're debugging issues. You're making it more efficient, which doesn't require that much coding. There's a lot more thinking that goes around it, especially if you're going to build up something to deploy to like lots of people. As a developer, like I actually realized this now I'm working in the cloud. I'm supporting customers who have applications that are literally used by millions of people. Small things you do in code, using a for loop instead of a recursive function, that can have massive implications in the performance of your program. You can't learn that in 6 weeks. That takes time to you need to build stuff, break stuff, and actually understand why a recursive function is better than a for loop in some cases, and why in some cases you should probably just go with a while loop or whatever. Like those simple things, you can't just learn that in 6 weeks.
Yes.
And yeah, especially if you want to get into a role that pays a lot, then you need to prove why they need to pay you that much.
I mean, it only makes sense.
Right? It only makes sense. But yeah, it's people don't always think about that because you're not in the industry, so
Yes.
you don't know what you don't know.
No, people get paid a lot for a reason. Like
Yeah.
people don't just pay you for nothing.
They're not going to pay you a
you're-
million rands a year just because you're a developer. They're
They
going to
pay
pay you a
you that
million rands a
because-
year because they feel like you bring that much value to the company.
You're going to bring in more than $1 million a
Yeah,
year for
definitely
them.
a lot more.
You know,
Like,
exactly.
They can't pay you a mil and then just bringing 1,000 rands. Nah.
Exactly. I actually want to go back to the cloud engineer role that you have, and I want you to explain to us what that actually means, right?
Yeah.
And before you go to that, I wanted to comment on like getting into tech with non-tech skills,
Yeah.
right? Because that is exactly what I did. First of all, I agree that it is much it's so much easier to get a role in tech or like navigate tech once you're in the
Once
industry.
you're in the industry.
But you don't necessarily have to be like part of like an engineering team to
Yeah.
begin with in order to get into that space. So what I did is I was in customer service. So like the very first person that like gets your email when you're complaining about something,
Yeah.
that was me. That's how I got into like tech companies. But once I was within that, I was like, okay, there's a whole ecosystem here, and I could actually like move from this role to that role, and that would lead me to another role, which is now
Yeah.
like I'm a scrum master.
Oh,
And
that's
that
pretty
is
cool.
right. I think it's really cool.
And you can't just start as a Scrum Master. It's
No,
probably
no.
not a good idea to just start as a Scrum Master.
No, you
'cause-
can't. You actually cannot start as just a Scrum Master, which is something that I learned while I was doing, because I had to do shadowing, I had to do so many things, I had to
Yeah.
like do a whole course and things like that, right? But it's such an obscure role, right?
Yeah.
That you will never know about it until you're actually
Until you're in
in
there.
tech, right? So yeah, I think that's a really great thing to like highlight is if you want to get into tech, it might look like doing something that's not necessarily technical to
Yeah.
begin with to get your foot in the door. So I absolutely love that. But let's go back to the cloud engineer side. What is a cloud engineer for us laymen?
So I have to like first understand what the cloud is. So a website is essentially just an application that's running on a computer somewhere, right? And you're accessing that application through the internet. So traditionally, let's say you were to develop an application like Instagram, for example, you actually have to build the application, the coding part of it, and then find a computer, or in this case, a server, where you're going to run that application, and then you have to find networking routers and stuff to connect that computer to the internet. If you get a lot of users, you're going to have to get a bigger computer. You might have to end up getting lots of computers to support more users. And the bigger you grow, the more of that admin that you have to do. So, for example, I'll use Amazon as an example. You can imagine Amazon.com it has millions of customers every single day, which means that those customers are going to have to be served on some computers. So the infrastructure, the computing infrastructure was growing like pretty much exponentially, and just managing that became a job in its own, But your main job is to host Instagram. You built an Instagram application. That's what you want to spend your money on. That's what you want to spend your time on. That's what you want to invest on. But as you grow, you're going to be spending a lot more time doing this other task, which is to just manage computers. So what the cloud is basically is you just rent out those services to somebody else, and then they'll do it for you. So you still get access to the computer, but instead of you managing it in your back room there, you just connect over the internet to the computer being hosted by somebody else. They manage the power, they manage the network infrastructure, they make sure that even if you grow to have 1 billion users, you are able to support 1 billion users. You don't have to actually manage that growth yourself, and you just pay them on a monthly fee. So it works a lot better for you, because as you can now just focus on developing Instagram. And if you get let's say Drake tweets out something to do with Instagram, and then a massive flow of users comes to your website, you can just pay that cloud provider a lot more money to just give you a lot more infrastructure. You can't do that if you're managing that by yourself.
Yes.
So that's what the cloud is basically you outsourcing the management of your computing systems and whatever. So now, obviously, there's a lot more involved there. So with cloud companies like Amazon Web Services, they provide what we call web services, which is basically a service you access over the internet. Mm-hmm. What are those services? For example, offering you computing power, offering you machine learning abilities, speech to text translation, or just lots of things that you need on the internet. Like literally with Amazon, they provide hundreds of services, so we can go on and on and on. If your application needs a database, they can provide that service over the internet, and so on and so on and so on. So what a cloud engineer does is basically just build applications that work with the cloud, or actually building cloud applications. In my case, I'm a cloud support engineer, which means that we support the customers that use the cloud. So if you're an Instagram, you built Instagram, you want to use this, the cloud services, you come to us, you use our compute services, the database services, the content distribution. Let's say you want to distribute your application all over the world. Amazon has those services, and lots of other cloud providers. That's a service they can use, and so on and so on. So you use those services. If you need help using them, that's where I come in. If you're facing issues, I come in there. Let's say this is how you're going to scale out to make sure you can support all those users, and so on and so on. That's a role. You can just be a salesperson, just go out there and
I hear
sales
tech salespeople make a lot of money, by the way.
If you like, think about it. If you can sell a product to somebody where there's the potential to spend lots of money on the product, you're gonna be expensive. Like, you can imagine, let's say a company as big as Standard Bank. If you have a cloud services company, and Standard Bank is looking for a cloud provider, Standard Bank is probably going to be spending hundreds of thousands of rands per month on that service. If you can get them as your customer, you're worth a lot of money. So that's why, if you're in tech sales and you can actually sell a product that well, you can definitely get paid.
Yes.
But obviously, you have to actually understand what you're selling.
No, of course. The people that you're selling it to will understand what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, you can't just,
Exactly.
I was about to say a swear word, so I'm not. But you can't just BS around, Yeah.
Yes. Don't feel shy. It's okay. This is a safe
Safe
space.
space.
It's okay. It's okay. But like, yeah, guys, like, so like there's the cloud engineer, you can be a software developer, and like really I think the non-tech side of things is a great way to get in. So like
Yeah.
that's like the biggest like advice I would give from my side. But I think you've said so much, to be honest. If you guys want to learn more about like software development, you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
But he has a whole YouTube video on like tech roles, like roles in tech.
Like
and
if you want to
everything.
understand just what is out there in tech, I do
Yes.
have a video where I was trying to break down, like when you say tech, what kind of careers and roles are there in tech. So I talk about software development is obviously one of them, but even within software development, there's lots of different types of development. There's the networking side of things. There's different roles you can take there. There's the infrastructure side of things. There's the databases. There's security. That's a massive item. Then there's just bringing all of them together, which is architecting. So, and then just sales, just documentation. If you're somebody who's able to communicate technical stuff to non-technical people, that's a nice skill. There's a lot of things you can do within tech itself
Yes.
that don't require you having to write down and sit down and write code.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend watching that video. I'm going to link it like somewhere here on this video. But yeah, because there's so many things that you can do in tech, and there's so many opportunities for you to explore and find whatever works for you. So we've spoken about your 9 to 5, the amazing work you do as a support cloud engineer, but you do a lot more than that. Like you have a YouTube channel, and you're also a photographer, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do as a content creator in terms of your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So my YouTube, I started that as I'll start with photography actually. When I started in first year, at the end of first year, I realized that I'm spending most of my time just sweating over marks. And when I do have free time, I don't really have much to do, so I end up just watching stuff or gaming, whatever. So like I need something to focus my energies on that's a bit more constructive and more creative, and that's how I end up with photography. So I realized that I tend to take a lot of pictures anyways. Like if you look at my first year, like at our first year Facebook group, like I was the one who was taking pictures at all events. So I was like, maybe I can make this like a more serious hobby. So that's how I got into photography. And then with time, I realized that I can actually make money from this. And then actually people started wanting to hire me. I was like, I'm just doing this for fun. But like, I know, we'd like to pay you to do this event. I was like, nah. I actually remember the first offer I got, I was just like, nah, I'm not comfortable doing that. I can do part of it for free though, just to actually see if it's something I can do.
Yes.
Took those pictures. Then afterwards, I then realized the official photographer they hired, I did a way better job than them. And they got paid 3,000 rands. I was like, that's the easiest money I could have made. Then after that, I was like, okay, I actually have something here. Then started advertising. That same friend who encouraged me to get into like photography, like, yo, dude, make a YouTube, make a Facebook page, and then just start, advertising yourself. And then I did, and then it actually became a nice side hobby. Like I was actually making some decent money. Just for upkeep as a student, and that's how I got into photography. Then as for YouTube, this was now when I was working, and I was getting to a stage where I wanted something new. I wanted a creative outlet, and then I wanted something that plays to my strengths. So then I realized that I enjoy mentoring people. Like even at work, I do a lot of mentoring activities. I do a lot of training activities. So I realized like I like educating people, I like training people, I like mentoring people. Let me do that on a bigger scale maybe. And then that's how I came out with trying to adult. Even just figuring out what to actually talk about on my channel. Did some brainstorming. I was like, you know what, I'm struggling, just surviving. Maybe I should just share my experiences with that, and just guide people who are getting into this stage in life and don't really know what to do. I didn't know how to do taxes. I didn't know, like, what is this thing they call budgeting? It's probably important. Investing money. What is that? Credit. What is credit? Coming from Zim, that's not really a thing we even talk about.
Can we just talk about that for a second? Can we just because I didn't even realize credit was a thing before I came here, because in Zim, I've never heard anyone talking about their credit score.
What is that?
What is that?
bruh.
You just borrow the money,
And then that's it.
That's it.
Like for me, it made like I started knowing that credit and credit scores is a thing back in varsity, but I didn't really pay that much attention to it. But that was also mostly because we ingest a lot of American content, so that's how we learn about it. But then when I was starting to, but I stayed in Res most of my varsity. No, throughout varsity I stayed in Res, so I never really needed to
Yes.
get an apartment, whatever. So then after I started working, and then every time I was applying for a thingy, they wanted my credit report. I was like, what is that? Where do I even get that? Then I started learning more about this credit thing, and then I realized I have a very bad credit score. I'm a foreigner, don't have any work experience. Like the risk of me running away with your money is very high, which means I have a very bad credit score. That's something I only had to learn the hard way when I was actually looking for a job. Like even trying to get a Woolies store card, they were like, "You don't have a good credit." I was like, "What?
I
need a good credit to get a store card. What the hell?" Anyways, and then so I was like, you know what? There's probably a lot of people in my position who don't really have a good understanding of this credit score thing or just credit and how to deal with it. And that's how I was like, yeah, let's educate people about credit. Let me learn about credit and then try to teach it to somebody who's coming from a position where they don't actually understand what it is. And then I made a few videos on that. And yeah, credit. So I want to make a lot more of these kind of, like, these are the kinds of issues I want to tackle on my channel, just trying to adult, like what I'm going through and just trying to make life easier for somebody who's trying to adult.
Yeah, I think that name is perfect, to be honest. Trying to adapt, because really we are all just winging this thing.
Yeah, we just
like
trying
we're just trying.
I thought I'd be an adult by now, but it's gonna take a while.
I don't even know if it even happens at any point, because everyone that I speak to, even if they're in their 30s, they're like, wow, I'm still trying to figure these things out.
Oh my God, it's a lot. It's a lot.
But I absolutely enjoy your content. Like, I think I've watched basically like every single video you've made. And like, I remember when you crossed over and you started monetizing your YouTube, when your YouTube got officially monetized. That was such a big step. How did that feel to finally get paid by YouTube for your content?
It felt good. It felt like at least I'm starting to get compensation for the efforts I was putting in. And I probably still haven't broken even, honestly. Like, YouTube takes a lot of time, especially those early days, because you're unknown. You need to give a random person a good reason to actually click follow. Or actually, no, just to click on your video. Why should I click on your video? You random person, So just learning how to like give value, that takes a lot of time and effort, and you're not getting paid. And even when you join the partner program, it's not that much money. It's not enough money to justify the amount of time. Like, technically, it's not enough money to justify the amount of time you're spending. I think my first month I made like 300 rands, which is actually quite nice. But if you break it down, that's 10 rands a day.
Yeah, and you're like, but
And
I
that's
have
a lot
a
of
camera,
hours.
I have a microphone.
Bruh, that stuff is not cheap. Nothing in that stuff is cheap. Like, and I just happen to be like a technical person, so I'm always trying to get the or what I can, like, good value for money, and I want to get good sound. I'm gonna spend money. I have to spend money on it.
Yes.
Microphones don't come cheap, apparently. Good cameras don't come cheap. If you want to improve your output, you're going to have to spend money on it. And that money is not going to come in the first year of your YouTube. You're not going to be making enough money to rightfully justify what you're doing. But it was a nice encouragement to actually know that what I'm doing is actually starting to make an income. And right now I'm making like 700-ish rands a month, of which I haven't been posting my videos that much this year. So I'm actually making money on videos I made last year when I wasn't making money.
Yes.
Like, it's a nice passive income source, so I definitely hope to grow bigger. Like, I want to push a lot more content, and as I grow bigger, it will actually become like a reasonable side hustle type of thing, where the amount of time I'm spending on it correlates to the amount of money coming in.
Yes.
I'd love to get to that stage eventually, but slowly getting there. YouTube is a marathon.
It is such a marathon.
It's a comrades marathon, actually. Not just a marathon. It's a long ass marathon. But yeah, it's worth it in the end, though. Like, when you actually start that getting monetized is a massive encouragement, because you're like, you know what, that now you can actually see the amount of efforts you're putting in literally correlates to the amount of money you can actually get it. If you don't put in effort, you're not going to get paid.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's such like a beautiful way of describing it. Like YouTube is a marathon because I think if you started with the mindset of making money, you'll probably give up very soon because it takes a while.
It's actually not a good way to make money.
It's not even a good way to make money.
It only starts paying off a lot later.
Yes.
And if you look at the amount of effort and time you put in, by the time you start getting paid, it's gonna take a longer to actually justify, like break even and justify just making money. So if you're looking for a way to just make money, then you probably shouldn't do YouTube.
Especially if you want to make money like next month.
Yeah, like if YouTube is a long-term thing. And that's one of the reasons why I started YouTube. I was like, you know what, I want something that can start paying me in 5-10 years. Like in 5-10 years, I want to have more than one source of income.
Yes.
And one thing I realized about side hustles, if you want to make good sources of income, they would take lots of time to build up. So whatever it is, there's no quick money. That's also something I realized as an adult. Quick money is a myth. It takes time and effort to make money, whatever you choose. If it's tutoring and you want to make more money tutoring, you need to put in a lot of work advertising yourself to clients who pay more. You need to build skills to start tutoring those more difficult subjects. That takes time and money. If it's, let's say you want to go into music, that's a very good example. That takes a lot of time and money.
And luck.
Lots of time, actually.
And luck too.
If you want to get into photography, if you want to start getting the big clients, the big jobs, you're going to need to spend lots of time just shooting, learning how to shoot, getting the equipment. That's money. So you're going to be spending a lot of time in the early years building the foundation for you to actually eventually start making money. So whether it's YouTube or whatever it is, it's not easy making money. It takes a lot of effort. That's one of the biggest lessons I learned about just making money, like multiple streams of income. It's nice. If you want to start a blog that makes money, you need to write a lot of content, good quality content that provides value, that takes lots of time and money to invest in for you to get to a stage where you make money.
Yes.
So yeah, there's no easy money, unfortunately. It's
I wish
sad.
there was easy money. I wish. But I like the fact that you pointed out the fact that like it takes a while for YouTube because it can seem like it's just easy. Like you just record a video, you upload it, people watch it, you make money. It doesn't really. There's a whole process. But there's other ways of making money on YouTube, and I want to know if you've explored those ways with brand sponsorships, or with even selling your own products. Where have you toyed with those ideas before?
I've been approached for some of these things, but right now, like my career right now is the biggest priority. And unfortunately, that's coming at the cost of everything else. So photography has taken the biggest hit because ultimately it is just a hobby. YouTube has taken a massive hit because I can't justify the time I'm spending on YouTube right now because my career is a lot more important. I want to build a good career. I'm still 3 years into my career, so I feel like I still need time to really like build the skills and get the experience I need in my career. And that takes a lot of time, just way too much time. And right now, like actually, when I was pushing my YouTube when I started, my career actually took quite a hit because I didn't have time to actually study for certifications, which is something you need to do. Like if you're in tech, you need to constantly be building skills.
Like why?
You can't sit.
Like why is this our life? Like why are we always having to get like every single time you're like, oh, there's something new.
Yeah,
you have
there's something new. And worse with my company, like AWS releases products all the time. Like I literally sometimes I get customers who reach out to me saying, oh yeah, there's this product that I'm trying to get you. I'm like, really? What's this product you mentioned? Oh really? Just give me 2 minutes. Quickly go, oh, that was released 2 days ago. How do I not know about this? And then you have to learn whatever. Like, there's a lot to learn. Yes. And especially if you want to build your career, if you want to earn more money, get into better positions, whatever, it takes lots of time and effort.
Yes.
And you have to put in that effort outside work, which then that's the time you use for YouTube. And YouTube alone, like it takes time to like research a video, come up with a video idea, research the video, shoot, edit, and then publish. And I just didn't have that time. So
and promote. Please don't forget promoting.
Exactly. Like, and it's a one-man job, eh? Like it's a one-man job. So
exactly.
Like it's been taking a big hit. But it like it is like I've been trying to like at least push out one video a week, but I'm still trying to find a balance between that. Like YouTube took my career took a big hit, so I basically had to swap. I was like, okay, now it's YouTube's turn to take a hit. Next year, in the next few months, I want to try to find that balance where I can still contribute towards my career, but also really invest in my YouTube, because I really do enjoy YouTube. It brings a lot of value. Like people are always messaging me asking for help. Like I can see I'm adding value to people's lives, and I want to be able to do that a lot more. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but we'll get there eventually.
No, I completely understand the struggle of like balancing everything, because there's only 24 hours in the day, and there's only one you.
You just do need to sleep, unfortunately.
And you also still need to and have a social life. Let's not forget the social life. That's important.
If you have a girlfriend, you're like, babe, I want attention, eh?
What is happening?
What's going on? It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is definitely a lot. And I wanted to, like, you've already touched on this, but that was one of the things I wanted to talk about is how do you balance it all? Because I know you've worked a lot with fitness influencers, specifically one. I can't remember her name now. I think it's Fitobi.
Yes.
Yeah. You always take her pictures and they just look spectacular.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get time to like get back to that passion of yours
definitely.
as well.
I do enjoy that. With side hustles, like one thing I realized is you actually have to invest time in it. That's the most important investment you can make for your hustles. It's time. And you can't just give time to it when you have time. You actually have to plan ahead. Like, you know what, if you want to do YouTube, you need to say, okay, I'm going to be able to devote 3 days a week on YouTube, maybe an hour on each of those days. You actually need to go to your calendar, set out that time. The same way you say, I'm going to work from 8 to 5, the same way you need to put YouTube. Okay, after I finish work, I'm going to rest, eat, whatever. But at 8 o'clock until 10, I need to do something to do with YouTube. If it's photography, I need to be learning how to shoot, how to experimenting with specific shooting techniques, whatever. With photography, for example, on weekends, since you probably can't do, if you have a day job, you probably can't do much during the week, so it's gonna have to sacrifice some friend time or some bay time, and you'd be like, okay, I need to actually make time to go out and look for shoots. But you also have to build a portfolio, which means you need to look for models. People also have a side hustle of modeling. Get together, like, okay, let's meet up on Sunday afternoon and shoot. But you have to make time for it. You can't just be like, okay, when I have time, I'm going to do my hobby. No, it doesn't work. If you want a successful hustle, you have to allocate time. You can't just do it when you have time.
Exactly.
That's the biggest lesson I've learned when it comes to side hustles.
I think I was actually listening to a Level Lion podcast this morning. I can't remember who she was interviewing, but the person was saying that you need to take yourself seriously so that other people take you seriously.
Exactly.
Like, I think that's like one of my biggest lessons as well, like running my side hustle, is you really need to take it seriously as a business if you really want it to become a business, because no one's going to take you seriously until you start putting in the time, the effort, and the investment needed to build up whatever you want to build up. So I think that's such an important point. But you also mentioned, I think at some point, is like, if you want to build a side hustle that can actually make you money, you need to invest time, because there's so many different things you can do as a side hustle, right? You don't have to start a YouTube channel. You don't have to do photography.
There's a lot of ways you can make money.
You could make you could make money doing things like what do they do online, like the surveys. You can teach English online and things like that. But there's like an earning cap there. There's like only so much money you can make
from a specific hustle.
Exactly, doing like surveys and things like that. But there's side hustles that you can actually build up into something that basically is unlimited in terms of like your earning potential. And like, do you think that's something that's been important for you when you were picking your side hustles?
Definitely, that's a really good point there. So one of the reasons why photography has now been relegated to mostly just a hobby. And that's because the way I was making money in let's go back for a bit. When I started working, I knew that having multiple streams of income was important. So at the time, I was tutoring. Tutoring is something I was doing in varsity, so it was easy for me to just continue doing it. So then I was tutoring, and I had pretty competitive pricing. I was at the time I was charging like 350 rands an hour. If I'm tutor right now, I'll probably charge like 450 rands an hour. But I quickly realized that my earning potential is limited to how much time I can put in. It's a direct correlation. If you don't work, you're not making money. With tutoring, I was making maybe like 4,000 rands a month extra, but it meant a lot more hours. I have to, like, I finish work at like 3 o'clock. I start at 6, finish at 3, and then I'm tutoring from 4 o'clock until maybe 6. And then I go home, rest. I'm already so like by the time I start tutoring, I'm already exhausted. And then I have to do this again and again. If I want a break, it's gonna directly affect my the amount of money I make. So it wasn't very scalable. And for me, it wasn't a good side hustle because it's not scalable. It's nice when I need money. Like if I need to make an extra 2,000 rands a month, I would definitely tutor because I need that money. But as a long-term thing, it's not sustainable. So I started like one way I could have made tutoring a good side hustle is to find a way to scale it up a bit. So right now I'm actually thinking maybe I can make video courses. That's a form of tutoring, which is a bit scalable. And once again, when you start, you're probably not going to make that much money because no one knows you. No one has a reason to purchase, to spend 500 rands on a course from you, you know. But that's that's where time comes in. You need to invest time to make a good course and teach whatever you want to teach. Tutoring, maybe a way to scale it up is to have like online sessions where you're tutoring classes, where you're making a bit more money, but obviously that still has a cap of some sort. But yeah, with tutoring, you can write blogs where you are delivering that content in a blog format, and you can monetize your blog. Or maybe if it's a YouTube channel, if you're tutoring, let's say mathematics, literally make a channel where you are going through each of these most important topics, where you make a good video talking about grade 12 maths or whatever. Or maybe you just make videos going through past papers or whatever, and then you publish that on your YouTube channel. That has a lot more, there's a lot more exponential growth in that, you know.
True.
When you're not able to make videos for a year, there are videos you've made for the past 5 years that can still add value. They can still make you money. It's a lot more passive. It has a better long-term growth. And so that's how I end up just going to YouTube, because with photography, I had to have shoots to make money. And times I can't have shoots, I would not make any money. At least with YouTube, if I can create videos that offer value, they will always offer value. People will always need to learn how credit scores work. So the
school system will never teach us.
They will never. They've proven that they'll never teach us. Like one of the first videos I made on my channel was like how to get a critical skills visa. Till today, it's one of my best performing videos.
I think that's such a it's so useful. I watched that video probably more than like 2 times because I was like, okay, like how do you get this thing? Because it's such a complicated system to go through when you're applying for visas, and it feels
and
like
people will always want to learn how to do that.
Exactly.
So that's like I needed to come up with the more scalable way of making a side hustle, and I think that's what people need to focus on. Like when you've gotten into a position where you need to think of your long-term growth, definitely think of ways you can have a side hustle that is more scalable and more resilient and just has a long, a nice future.
Yes.
And that's not easy. That's not easy at all. But it takes time. You actually need to sit down and figure out where are my strengths. If you have a career that's, like if you have a profession, the easiest way to start is just, can you actually teach other people that profession? If you're a developer, can you teach other people your job? Can you make that teaching scalable? Maybe blog or make videos about it. Do a video course. Right? I feel like that's the easiest way to get into side hustles. Just exploit what you're already good at, and then start expanding from there. If you feel like what your day job is not very useful to convert it to a side hustle, think of other skills you can build up. So, okay, you like photography or you spend way too much time on Instagram. At least create the content
like
for
most
Instagram.
People.
If you feel like you don't have any skills you can monetize, learn the skills. Research what skills are getting people paying, and then learn those skills. And it takes time. Ultimately, it takes a lot of time to build something that's valuable.
Yes, and even if it's like something that you already know how to do, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it, right? So if you're good at video editing, the more videos you edit, the better you get at it, right? So you have to essentially just have to start, see what works and see what doesn't work, and then figure it out from there.
Yeah, a good side hustle is something that you can if needed, you can turn into a business.
Yes.
You know, into a good business that's a bit scalable in terms of earning potential. And as a side hustle, you technically have a lot of time to figure out what that good business would be. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
no pressure there. Like no pressure at all there.
Yeah, but like I think that's really important. Choose a side hustle that has an earning potential that makes sense. It makes sense for the time that you're spending on it, the money that you're spending on it as
Yeah.
well. But like I think one of the biggest things when it comes to, because we always preaching about like the whole multiple streams of income, and we all know that we need those, right? But like there's a part of actually like managing those multiple streams of
Yeah.
income. Because I remember when I started making money from my side hustle, because when I started it, I didn't necessarily start it as a side hustle. It was just like, oh, I'm just going to do this thing, see how it goes. It looks interesting.
Yeah.
But when I started making money out of it, I was like, oh, wow, I have so much money. And then I was just like putting all that money in my personal account and just like living life, you know? And you can already see like how that turned out.
Yeah.
That wasn't like a great idea. So I've learned a little bit about like managing like side hustle income, because I think there is a separation between like your personal income and the money that you make from your side hustle. As you said, is like a great side hustle is something that you can scale up into like a really like a proper business, right? So if you do want to like longevity and you want to like build up your side hustle, how do you manage the income that you make from your side hustle effectively without blowing it like I did?
Yeah. Well, at the very least, make a different account for it. It's a lot easier to keep track of what the money you're making if it's separate from your income, because your checking account, you're naturally going to spend it until it gets to the minimum balance. That's what a checking account is for. You know? it's for paying stuff. If you go out and you need a drink and you're like, but can I afford this? You look at the checking account, it has money.
It has
Let me
money.
spend it. So that's definitely the first thing. Have a different account for it. And treat it like a business, right? If you are actually running this as a business, does it make sense using that money for what you're using it for? In my case, like when I started making money from YouTube, I was like, I can actually now just I have a bit more money now to just spend on whatever. But then I started thinking, like, if I'm to treat this as a business, does it make sense spending this money, just blowing this money, if it's actually a business? So basically, especially the first few years, maybe just use that money to invest in the business itself. So the income I'm getting from YouTube, that's the money I use to buy more equipment, not my actual personal money, because I'm treating it as a business. The business needs to take off itself. If I don't have equipment, because obviously with YouTube, you shouldn't just invest in equipment. Can you use that money to make more content? If you're making enough money, maybe do like if you maybe have a travel vlog, actually use that money to travel. Or can you use that money to pay for somebody to come and like, do a video interview? Let's say in my case, like trying to adult, maybe I can pay somebody like Vusi to come fly to Cape Town and do a video with me. It might cost me maybe 5,000 rands if he's
Obviously, if you're listening to this, please contact us.
If he's only willing to have me cover his travel costs, maybe it's gonna cost me 5,000 rands for me to fly him here, accommodate him and feed him. If he's kind enough to just not want to be paid more than that, maybe I can use that money from my own business to actually do that. So I'd say income, manage it like an actual business, and if it actually makes a profit after all the costs, then you can maybe blow that money. After all, it is a side hustle supposed to be giving you income.
Like make it a salary, make it stable.
Exactly, make it a salary. Like if you get to a stage where you are making a consistent amount of money that's paying off for the basic cost, then have a salary and then account for your business. If you've gotten to a stage where you don't have a lot of ongoing costs.
Yes.
So treat it like a business. Businesses invest in themselves. They pay specific salaries. They don't just say, you're making money, so have all of it. If you need a bonus, then have a month where you have a bonus.
Yes.
You pay yourself
and
twice the amount of
calculate
money.
that bonus. Make sure it makes sense.
Right? Yeah. Like for me, like I like when I want new equipment, I use that as an incentive to actually make more money with my YouTube. Like I'm like, I need to justify why I needed this 5,000 rand microphone or this 10,000 rand lighting setup. I need to justify why I need that lighting setup. If you're gonna spend 10,000 rands on lighting, are you producing videos consistently enough to actually justify spending that money? Otherwise, you're just blowing money for nothing.
That is true.
Yeah,
That is
so-
true. And it's so easy to blow side hustle money. It feels like
because it feels like money that it's additional money, like it's money
Exactly.
you weren't expecting,
Yes.
like so like why should you keep it? It's like getting a tax return. Like how often do you just put it straight into savings? It makes sense because it's an unexpected source of money, and naturally we want to spend, like we treat that money differently,
Like it's free
than
money.
like it's free money, but it's not. Like money is money. After all, the 500 rands you get from your day job is exactly the same as with the 500 rands you get from your side hustle. What you should then treat it like that. Does it make sense to blow it extra? Does it make sense to invest that money? Does it make sense to buy more equipment or pay yourself a salary or whatever?
yeah.
So managing money, side hustle's money is something also had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, no, you do. I learned it the hard way. I don't think I've met a single person who didn't blow it at least like the first couple months.
Right, the first
or
couple months,
something.
because it feels like free money. Like
Exactly.
I wasn't expecting this. Why?
It's like,
no,
what?
man.
I know. I love the tip that you gave, like, because I feel like sometimes like the best advice seems so cliche and so boring because it's like so simple, but it's so important, like what you mentioned about separating your finances, like the personal finances and the
Yeah.
business finances, and managing the business finances appropriately. Like the business needs to deal with the business, not to deal with whatever you have going on in your personal
Yeah.
life, right?
And if you are to invest in your business, let's say you still have a small business, right? Let's say you're only making 500 rands a month from your side hustle, but you feel like your business would really benefit from a good laptop. Then you're gonna loan your business money. You're gonna loan your business from your personal account. You're gonna loan 40,000 rands to buy a nice laptop. You're gonna have to justify that 40,000 rands and actually pay yourself back that 40,000 rands. So even if you're to spend money that's your own money for your business, justify it and treat it like a business getting a loan from a bank or whatever, or a lender. And does it make sense to? That's where the question comes. Does it make sense to buy a 40,000 rand laptop for a side hustle? If you would run this as a business, would that purchase make sense?
yeah.
That's-
When do you break even?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no. Purchasing equipment for side hustles is so easy to do, man. But when you separate your finances, it becomes easier when you think of it logically.
Exactly. And I think it's also very important to like separate the finances, because the way you manage like your personal finances is very different with the way that you're going to manage your side hustle finances.
Exactly, yeah.
Because there you need to be looking at things like your expenses, because there's like tax deductibles, right? Like if you
Yeah.
buy equipment, you want to be able to go to SARS and be like, actually I bought that camera for the business, so you need to
Exactly,
pay me that
so-
money or something, So you need to have like, I think from my experience so far, is you need to have like much better record keeping when you're
Yeah.
in your business finances than when you're dealing with your personal finances, which is where like accounting platforms come in. Because before I actually started working with Sage, so I'm currently working with Sage as a content partner, so I'm creating content for them, and
Nice.
because of that partnership, right, it's made me like look at my business finances much closer,
Closer,
right?
yeah.
Because I have to go to their platform, do my accounting, and see where everything is at,
pretty
and
cool.
it makes it even more real when you
So you
have
use it to actually like manage your business's accounting.
Yes, so you can import like that's like the most that I do is I import like my bank statements, and
Nice.
I can match up all of the transactions and see, okay, cool, this invoice was paid on this date by this person. Do they owe me money? Is this invoice late? And it makes things so much easier. So like there's a different mindset and a different way of managing business income than just personal income. I find personal income much easier to manage, to be honest.
It's you can mess
Yes.
up your personal income. If you don't want to save this month, that's fine.
Exactly.
It's yourself you're suffering. But with your business, it's your business that suffers. If you don't manage that money properly, your business actually suffers.
It does.
And it's a very different mindset. That's one thing I've learned. Like I'm not the biggest business savvy person. Like I do my own accounting for my business, but like I definitely like the idea of using like an accounting platform to do that.
Yes, and I think like
Definitely try
Sage
that
is
out.
amazing, guys. Obviously, I'm working with them, but I think they are amazing. Like their platform is so easy to use,
That is so cool.
and you get like 30-day free trial with my link, so you can like download it
definitely
on
gonna try
the
that.
like sign up
definitely
with the
gonna try that.
description below, guys. In the description below, with my link for Sage. But I think it's phenomenal, and I think for because for most people, when we think about like side hustle income, right, we're not thinking about it as a business income.
Yeah.
But I think when you do that mindset shift, it'll make the picture even clearer. It makes building your business easier too, right? Because you can spot opportunities.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, this was a good month. I made some
Yeah.
extra income.
What did I do different?
Yeah, what did I
month?
do differently? Or should I direct that extra income to maybe invest in my next project or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having like accounting software is really, really important when you're managing your business
income.
finances. So please do like sign up with the link in the description
wanna
if
try
you have
that
a side hustle. Highly recommend it.
It probably encouraged me to be more consistent, actually, because you can see the money.
You can save the money.
It's not coming. It's not coming in. I need to do something about that.
You're like, what are you doing the past couple months?
Yep, you can see that dip there. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
I'm definitely gonna try that out. Yeah, because
Exactly.
I've just been using my normal accounts. Like, I
Yes.
just open a different account.
No, you need to
and
level up.
I
You need to level
You're
up
You're right.
and sign
This
up
is
for
This is a
Sage.
business investment I'm going to be making.
Exactly,
actually.
exactly. It is a business investment. It just makes things so much easier.
So cool.
So we've spoken. I feel like we've spoken about so many things. We've spoken about your cloud support engineer role. We've spoken about photography. We've spoken about YouTube. What are some of the other? What are you planning? Actually, we're recording this in November 2021.
Yeah.
We're going into 2022 soon. So,
Yeah.
do you have plans for your side hustle? I know you're focusing on your career right
Yeah.
now. What are you seeing happening in the next year for you?
So like most of this year has just been working on my career, and I still need to like do a lot more of that. But I'm basically taking like not a break, but I'm calming down for a bit, and that's gonna allow me to spend a bit more time on my side hustles and that kind of thing. So in terms of what I want, I definitely want to push out more content and more consistently. Not even starting next year. Like I want to do that. I want to start at least 2 videos a month, but I also don't want to pressure myself to push out videos because I want to be able to release good content. So whether it's 1 video a month or 2 videos a month, or if I can 4 videos a month, I want it to actually be good content that helps people, or even if it's not like the trying to adopt type of content, like if the purpose of the video is to entertain somebody, I want to actually do that. So I wanna be a bit more intentional when it comes to the content I actually do release. Which means I need to spend a lot more time on it. So I need to devote a lot more time. I need to find a balance between my career and my side hustles. And I'm also like exploring other hustles, like one of the things I mentioned, like video courses. Like I'm actually thinking, is that something I can actually get into? Like I want to explore other opportunities to make like a consistent amount of money on the side. But yeah, definitely in the next couple of months or years, I definitely will have a lot more than just me, YouTube, and like photography on the side.
Yes.
So yeah, it's I'm in limbo right now. I'm a bit of a limbo. But yeah, that's that.
You have to take your time and figure these things out. I feel like there's so many opportunities that kind of come up with content creation that it's
Yeah.
like, what do you do? Do you create an ebook? Do you create courses? Do you
Exactly.
have like membership on your YouTube? So, or like, what is it called? Patreon.
Patreon.
Patreon. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, because I wanna as I grow bigger, I wanna find better ways to actually connect with my subscribers, which means I'll probably need to start looking into like having something like a Discord where I can have discussions with my subscribers outside just like the YouTube comment section.
Yes.
Or because right now it's quite overwhelming having people reach out to me because I can't always respond back to them. So if I can create like a way to consistently like answer my subscribers' questions, that would be awesome. Definitely want to start, like as I grow bigger, I want to start exploring those subscription options, like having a Patreon, maybe having live videos. I've heard live videos are really are just a really good way to connect with subscribers. So that's something I want to try out next year at some point. I can't believe I just said that publicly. I want to try that out next year just to have, because I've seen like trends in the questions people ask me. So I feel like if I can have discussions with people online, like in a live feed, that will definitely bring some value to people. And yeah, like just find other ways to like actually bring on money from my channel. Sponsorships. Yeah, I don't. You need to talk to me about how you did that, eh? Like,
I don't know
how do you
how I did
navigate
it
around
either.
sponsorships and stuff? That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like yeah, with time, I think I definitely want to work on that.
Yes. I think like the future is definitely bright. I like how you're thinking about everything that you're building right now as a source of income in the next 3-5 years, because by the time we're like 5 years down the line, like you would have like how many YouTube videos?
Exactly.
You know?
And they'll each be making that R1 per minute. thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's something I definitely look forward to.
Exactly. So I think it's an investment, but it's going to pay off a lot.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for like allowing me to interview you, making the time on a Sunday, guys. He came out on a Sunday, so I really appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. It was a pleasure to be on Small Steps to Freedom.
Thank
That's
you.
all we're looking for here. Financial freedom, money freedom, just
We love money here.
yeah, now who doesn't like money? Guys?
Exactly.
Money is very relevant to life.
I know, and I like things. I like life.
You need money. We all like things. Like I would like to be able to get to a stage where money isn't a stress when I come to like, I really want that latest Xbox. Maybe in 2 months I'll be able to get it without stressing about just money. Money stress is the worst kind of stress.
How much is an Xbox? I don't know how much people spend
Yeah,
on those.
it's currently going for 16,000 rand.
Okay, I think that's where we should end this
That's
interview.
the first investment. You also need a TV to go along with that Xbox, and that's a lot more expensive than the Xbox
Oh
itself.
my God.
Then you need games. Recently, they released Call of Duty Vanguard.
Yeah.
It only costs 1,100 rands. And they also released Battlefield. That's another 1,000 rands. And if you're into gaming, you're gonna have to spend money on that. But where is it coming from?
From
You
the
need to
side
justify it.
hustle.
You need to justify it. So yeah, small steps to freedom, man. We need to do this in small steps. Hopefully, in like 5 years, it won't be such a big deal to think about these. Hopefully, these will feel like small purchases.
That's the aim, right? Is
Yeah.
to spend the 16K without blinking an eye.
Okay, no, that's just a portion of my salary.
Not even a portion. Like, is it even noticeable?
It's obvious.
That is the energy we're going
a
for
cup
here.
of coffee.
I mean, okay, before we end up talking the whole day, I am going to end this interview here. Again, thank you so much for like gracing us with so much knowledge. I think the audience, my community, they learned a lot from you in terms of how they get into tech, because I know we all want to make money in this community. Balancing a side hustle, I think that was an incredibly brilliant topic to bring up, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about the time and energy that goes into side hustles and just managing your finances. So I feel like we learned so much from like having you here. So thank you so much for being here, Tino. Hopefully I get to host you again.
Definitely, it's gonna happen again.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. If you liked this video, please give me a like, subscribe, comment down below if you have questions for Tino so that we bombard him.
Yeah.
But I will see you guys in my next video. Again, thank you so much, Sage, for sponsoring this video, for working with us. So amazing to work with you guys. So bye, guys.